this is where you're putting anticipation into practice as well. It's the first time you're actually introducing them in an exercise where you can work on that anticipation. What I'm trying to get at is what you actually look at. Okay, so I'm playing there. I'm playing against Jesse. Okay, and I'm watching Jesse. I'm going to try and you've got to try and introduce them to pick up cues. Okay, of what Jesse's doing to try and improve, give them more information earlier to understand where the ball is going to go. If I was watching you, then I was just watching the slight backswing of the backhand and where it's going. If it goes, usually when you go across, you'll take the ball a bit earlier. So I was watching to see if you would take the ball earlier. Those are the main things. And say if you're doing an irregular exercise and you were looping at me irregular, and I was keeping the ball, say, to your forehand, so I'm keeping the ball there all the time, okay, but you're moving me around the table, and I've got to, that'd be an irregular exercise, okay, so it'd be an irregular block exercise. The regular thing is the fact that I'm feeding you to one point. The irregular thing is you're spreading the ball all over, and I've got to anticipate where you're going. You'd have more cues from a topspin loop than you would from a block. There's less you can pick up from a block to before the shot's being played, work out where the shot's going. Off a loop, obviously you've got a lot more information to work from, because if they're going back there, you know it's going to be a topspin loop. And then if the arm's coming right through, like we did earlier, that means it's probably going to go straight across the diagonal. If they're stopping, if the arm comes out and they're turning the shoulders, then it's going to go down the line. So it's just, as a coach, you've got to be aware and try and just make that child or whoever you're coaching realise that if they can look beyond just that ball and try and focus on the player, they've still got their eye on the ball, but you can actually see the player behind. Okay, just a blurred image, but sometimes that blurred image is enough to give the information to that player about where the ball's going to next. And all you can do, I think, as a coach is make them aware of that and try and get them to think outside just staring at that ball and nothing else. But if a player, okay, if somebody's serving to me, okay, and I'm like that, then the server, what's he going to probably think? Or what's a good thing to think if I'm like that?
It's going to topspin diagonally.
Or I'm coming in over the table and my bat's back. I'm going to flick. Yeah. So if I'm like that, then that person, right? They've got the information there from there. There's a flick. If I'm receiving there, the ball goes, and I'm going there. And I know it's going to be a topspin. So it's just trying to understand and getting as much information from the players pre-shot technique as you can. And it's different things for different players, isn't it? So as long as you try and give them that understanding, then sometimes you can't actually verbalise what's going on. Sometimes if they actually see that, I mean, sometimes, I was about 17 when I started to understand this. Instead of focusing on the ball, I could actually see what my opponent was doing all of a sudden, and I worked quite hard on that. And that put 2 or 3 points on my game just by seeing what they could do. It makes you feel more comfortable when you're playing. Okay. And some players never even enters the mind that. And that's the difference. A player can have exactly the same technique as another player, but if that player can see what's going to happen before it's actually happened, like Wallman is a perfect example, and they've got complete control of what's going on and feel comfortable with it. Whereas you can have the best technique in the world, but if you're just focusing hard on that ball and you're not seeing anything else, then it'd be very hard to improve.